I know I said in the past, in our most recent episode, that it is time for us not to sack Jose Peseiro. Perhaps it was the right thing to do, but it was not the right time. But hey, I've changed my mind. I haven't seen the game between Zimbabwe and Lesotho. It's too bad. It was an eyesore, and I do not think that this is, in the short term or in the long term, the best that we can get from the Super Eagles of Nigeria. This is a reaction to the qualifiers being played between Zimbabwe and Lesotho. And of course, we share other thoughts on what next for the Super Eagles as well. My name is Ayomide Sotubo, and this is the Nutmeg on Guardian TV. And of course, we have to start by talking about what has been evident on the Super Eagles as a team from the right from the start that Jose Peseiro took the job from the get-go. The team lacks conviction, and we saw that against Zimbabwe and Lesotho. It was quite glaring for onlookers, for everybody that watched both games. It was quite glaring to see that Jose Peseiro does not know his starting 11 for a start. He doesn't know what system they're going to play. He doesn't know what tactic to employ to get the best out of the team and the options that he's got. It's quite clear. Against Lesotho, he started with a 4-4-2 without a clear provider, someone who could provide, crosses or, chances for attackers to feed off from. And then we went 1-0 down. And the same was the case against Zimbabwe, although making a lot of changes, wholesale changes, by the way, 6 changes against Zimbabwe, and at the end of the day, same result. We conceded, his favorite there, because I think it's the right thing to say now, it's his favorite, Francis Uzoho, again conceding from penalty from distance. It was a fantastic penalty. Take nothing out of it. Credit to Musona, the Zimbabwe player that got the goal. But shouldn't he be keeping that out from way out? That's a long way out, and I think he should have kept it out. But, it's the sheer lack of conviction for me. We are going through a lot of chopping and changing. There's no clarity on how the team wants to play. We do not understand what he wants to do with the team, how he wants to get the team to achieve the objective, which he and the NFF have set for himself, by the way, which is winning the African Cup of Nations. We're a far cry from that. We're a far cry from that. And honestly, I don't see the future or even the present with Jose Peseiro. It defies logic that we have to, play like this. Is this really the best we can get from the Super Eagles? I do not think so. I do not believe so. I believe it is time for Jose Peseiro to go. I know I said in the previous episode that, well, it's the right decision to let him go, but then maybe not the right time. But against Zimbabwe, against Lesotho, these are teams that are not even in the top 100 in the world. And you play horrendous football like that. I don't know. I'm short of words, to be honest, because I'm beginning to feel like the options we've got at home, all right, because I'm going to talk a lot about options, potential replacements. We've done a video on this before, by the way, but again, we have to continue the conversation because it looks like the NFF are not getting the message yet. But in terms of options, even from at home here, on the local front, we have, in my opinion, better options in terms of management of the first team, of the senior national team. I believe strongly that they are better coaches. And I'm going to mention them next, okay? I would like to start with Emmanuel Amunike. There's always this complex about, should we go for our local coaches? Can they do the job? We're inviting players from across the world. Would they respect the manager? I do feel that Emmanuel Amunike is a name that commands respect. Yeah, it does. Because he's done it on the international scene. Maybe not coaching, but at least when it comes to playing at the highest level. How many Nigerians do you think have played for Barcelona? Emmanuel Amunike has done it, and he was successful there. So why not? Why can't he coach the Super Eagles? And he's also got some managerial experience as well. He's one of the few coaches that you can refer to as, having international experience and being able to handle the team. I feel it's time because, hey, let's be realistic. We're still also going to talk about, going forward, what next for the Super Eagles in terms of the AFCON, which is next on our list on the list of matches that we're going to play on, the next competition we're going to compete in. All right? You can go on and talk about that, but I do not particularly think that even if we retain Jose Peseiro, we're going to win the tournament. Let's settle with that fact. It's clear. You cannot beat Lesotho, Zimbabwe, in a game where you ordinarily should have a point to prove, having not qualified for the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Well, I do not think that Jose Peseiro will do anything like leading us to glory in Cote d'Ivoire in January. I do not think so. So why not start to consider these coaches and place prime focus on the World Cup qualifications. 2 games down already, and there's 8 more to go. And there's just 1 slot in a group of 6 teams. And South Africa right now are topping that group, and they've not even played their second game. Meanwhile, Nigeria have played 2 games. Anyways, it's sad. It's where we are as a country. But let's still stick with talking about replacements. Emmanuel Amunike is one. I feel he has what it takes. You may not agree with the opinion, but let me know in the comment section what you think is the ideal fit, who you think is the ideal fit to enter that position right now and at least do a decent job, maybe at least qualify from the group stage in the African Cup of Nations, and then build a sustainable team to help us qualify for the World Cup. Because, hey, it's not going to be funny if the Super Eagles of Nigeria did not qualify for 2 World Cups in succession. I don't think it has ever happened before, and we shouldn't want a first for that. So drastic steps need to be taken. But then up next on my list of potential replacements, George Finidi is one. I think it's a coach that mirrors Nigeria, the Nigerian Premier Football League. He's the coach of the reigning champions, Enyimba. I think he can do a job as well. He's also assistant to Jose Peseiro. He's been in the setup, he's been here and there, he has experience, knows some of these players as well. So yeah, I think he can also step in and do a good job if Nigerians give him the chance, because that's a different talking point altogether. We tend to like foreign stuff. I think it's a coloration of everything that we can point as wrong in this country. We tend to like foreign stuff, and then we do not value a lot of our homegrown talent. All right, but any of these coaches I'm mentioning, because I do not have a foreign coach here on my list anyway, but any of these coaches, their success is bound to how well the fans, administrators settle with the fact that it needs time. Whoever steps in needs time to build something sustainable. It's not going to happen immediately. All right. Look at Senegal, for instance. Aliou Cisse, who is the coach of Senegal, who are, by the way, reigning champions of Africa. He's been in that job for quite a while. All right. He's been given time to build that team. And I do feel that if we can look internally, pick somebody from within the ranks, and then, even help them sponsor their education, their coaching education. If there's something they need to get to up their game, perhaps sponsor them out of the country, let them get some licenses, certification, some competencies, or what have you, to improve their skills as a coach. Then yeah, we get talking about something serious. But I don't know if the NFF are really thinking about this as an option. But then George Finidi, certainly, Emmanuel Amunike, certainly, coaches that have been there around the setup of the Super Eagles, I think they can do a job, at least for now. And then Austin Eguavoen, a name I'm sure most Nigerians wouldn't want to hear now, because hey, we remember how Nigeria did not qualify for the World Cup and he was at the helm of affairs. I do not particularly favor him as a choice, but I'm also trying to be realistic here. I do think that this is one of the most likely names that the NFF will, select to be coach of the Super Eagles if Jose Peseiro has to leave right now. So, I'm just being realistic in mentioning him as an option. It is what it is. This is Nigeria. He has to be on the list for that reason. Is he the ideal choice? I do not think so, because we've seen him, we've seen what he can do, and it's not really convincing. But then the next choice on my list is Sunday Olise. And why not? I know, yeah, it was a sad ending, a bad ending, a sore ending when he left back in the day. I know that, people have their different opinions on the divide. But let's be frank. Let's tell ourselves the truth. He deserves a chance just like anybody in a system that works, in a system that thrives. It shouldn't have to deal with contract violations, shouldn't have to deal with lack of support, unpaid wages, which is a common theme. Even for General Raw, the battle to pay his salaries is still up there, So any coach deserves an enabling environment to succeed, but he has to be one of the options. And then the final name on the list for me is Salisu Yusuf, also a coach that's been around the setup for a while. And in fact, when Jose Peseiro's contract had to be renewed, his name popped up as one of the potential successors. So yeah, maybe it could be one. I know maybe perhaps the NFF would also think up his name as one of the likely options to fill the void should Jose Peseiro have to leave right now as things stands. But hey, this is my 5-man list. Who should I pick out of this list? I feel let's try something different. I think Emmanuel Amunike, let's bring him on and let's see what he can do. Hey, you can have your opinion, it's fine. Go into the comment section and also let us know who your option is. Is it Emmanuel Amunike? Is it George Finidi? Is it Austin Aguavon? Is it Sunday Olise? Is it Salisu Yusuf? Or perhaps it's not even one of these names. Let's know what your thoughts are in the comment section for that. But then, let's leave that and talk about what next for the Super Eagles. Yeah, what next literally is AFCON. It starts on the 13th of January, Nigeria in Group A against Cote d'Ivoire, the hosts, and Equatorial Guinea also with Guinea-Bissau. Guinea-Bissau, by the way, they defeated us in the African Cup of Nations qualifiers, although we had to come back to win. And, just checking the results so far, it's more of, it's thematic. The coach, Jose Peseiro, doesn't really know what he's doing with the team. He goes behind, and then we have to come back to win. We lose the first leg of games, and then in the second leg, some sort of individual talent, individual display, saves his job, saves the team, helps us to achieve, short-term objectives. Well, it's been a case, and, well, the African Cup of Nations, so much has been said by him, by the NFF, about him trying to win us the African Cup of Nations. That's the goal. Well, we're not sure, as at this point, we do not know if he remains at the job or not. But, hey, let's talk about what is in front of us. Yeah, Cote d'Ivoire, Equatorial Guinea, Guinea-Bissau. On the evidence of what we've seen against Lesotho and Zimbabwe, teams not even rated in the top 100 by FIFA, I do not think that we can make it out of this group. Yeah, call me crazy, but it's the truth. We can't even beat Lesotho. We are having to come from behind. I'm not convinced we can do anything. And then the World Cup qualifiers, South Africa, without playing 2 games, are top in the group. They have 3 points, Nigeria have 2. Then we have the same number of points with Zimbabwe. They also played a draw against Rwanda in their first game. And also Lesotho, who are yet to play their second game, have a point, while Benin Republic, they also, I think they don't have a point at this point. They don't have a point. But interestingly, okay, they do have a point. They have 1 point. Interestingly, they are tougher games. These 2 games, Lesotho and Zimbabwe, are probably the easiest games on paper, and we've struggled in both games. How do we make it out of this group? I honestly don't know. Maybe the good thing is our next qualifier game for the World Cup is not until June of next year, so probably there's time, and a lot can change between now and maybe over 6 months between now and, I think that's 7 months, 7-8 months before we talk about World Cup qualifiers again, But let's be fair and let's be frank. As things stand, 2 games gone already, 8 more to go. With South Africa winning 1 game more, which is their second game, they play tomorrow, by the way. If they win, then most certainly to qualify out of that group, Nigeria would have to go beat South Africa on their own patch. And also when South Africa come on Nigerian territory, we have to beat them as well. That's not an easy job. We've made the job more difficult by ourselves. We should be talking about having 6 points now, but we have just 2. And there's a matter of a rivalry between Nigeria and Benin Republic. These are tough games. It's not going to be easy. Rivalries only make it even more difficult. But then, we don't know if Jose Peseiro will be the coach, but I retain that Jose Peseiro, I think it's time for him to go. I think he wouldn't do better than what we have seen. It's been over a year. He was appointed May 15 of 2022. It's been over a year since he was there. I do not think he'll do a better job than what he's done already. So let's try something different. I know it's just a couple of, maybe less than 2 months before the start of the African Cup of Nations, but I do not just think there's anything that can be different from what we have seen now. Well, that's the much that we will take on this episode of the Nutmeg. I thank you very much for watching, and thank you for always following our content right here on Guardian Nigeria. By the way, you can hit the subscribe button to be part of the community, and also in terms of getting our latest content, you can tap the notification bells as well. Thank you very, very much for watching. My name is Ayomide Sotubo. I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye, and God bless.